The Masters tournament has stood as golf's most hallowed tradition for 9 decades. The azaleas bloom on cue, the roars echo through the pines, the green jacket gleams under Georgia's sun. And the rules have remained largely untouched since Eisenhower was in office. That all changed on a quiet Tuesday morning, just days before the opening tee shot, when Augusta National dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through every corner of the golf world. A rule change nobody saw coming, a decision with the power to reshape how the game is played at its highest level, an pointed message to every player in the field. The men in green jackets are watching. The email landed in player inboxes at 10:47 in the morning. No warning, no whispers, no leaks from the clubhouse. Just a brief, coldly worded statement from Augusta National Golf Club bearing the signature of Chairman Fred Ridley. The subject line read simply, "Masters Tournament announces competition updates." The golf world stopped scrolling and started reading. Throughout its history, the Masters has been guided by one core belief, that the champion should be decided by skill, strategy, and nerve, not by the exploitation of loopholes or the creative interpretation of obscure rules. To protect that belief, the tournament committee approved a set of changes effective immediately. And the list, though short, carried consequences that felt seismic. The first change addressed Rule 15.2, which covers movable obstructions on the course. The new language made crystal clear that directional signs, grandstands, and all other tournament infrastructure are to be treated as immovable objects, regardless of whether they are permanently fixed to the ground. Any player who moves such an object during competition will be assessed a 2-stroke penalty, no exceptions. The second change targeted practice rounds, limiting players to 5 visits to Augusta National before tournament week begins, with no more than 2 practice rounds per day during the tournament itself. Fines for violations start at $50,000 per incident. The third change explicitly banned players from testing bunker surfaces during practice rounds, with a 2-stroke penalty waiting for anyone found intentionally gathering information about sand conditions. And then came the closing paragraph, the one that made locker rooms go quiet. The committee reserved the right to penalize players for violating the spirit of the competition. Even when no specific rule had been broken, the reaction was immediate and unmistakable. Social media caught fire. Players huddled in corners of the practice facility, speaking in low voices, and the name on everyone's lips was Bryson DeChambeau. Nobody said it publicly at first, but the unspoken understanding was unanimous. These rules were written with one man in mind. His history with Augusta read like a case file. There was the signpost incident during the 2024 Masters, when he moved a directional marker on the 13th hole to open a path through the adjacent fairway, a move that was technically legal but drew gasps from players and officials alike. There were the reports of him playing Augusta up to 12 times before the 2016 tournament when he competed as an amateur. It's an unprecedented level of preparation that the club's membership did not appreciate, even as he earned low amateur honors. There was the TV tower relief controversy, and now, ahead of the 2026 tournament, he had been observed spending what the committee considered an excessive amount of time testing bunker surfaces during a practice round. Each incident on its own could be explained away. Together, they painted a portrait Augusta could no longer look past. Fred Ridley addressed the matter with the measured authority of a man who has never needed to raise his voice. "The Masters is different," he said. "Augusta National does not answer to the PGA Tour. It does not answer to any governing body. It sets its own standards, and it expects every player who walks through those gates to honor them." His words were not directed at anyone by name, but the directional arrow could not have pointed more clearly. DeChambeau's legal team issued a brief statement saying he respects the tournament and its rules and would comply with the changes. DeChambeau himself said only that he had come to Augusta to win and would not allow the controversy to distract him. The responses from the rest of the field ranged from enthusiastic support to cautious concern. Rory McIlroy welcomed the changes, saying the Masters should come down to the best players competing on a level playing field, and that these updates move things in the right direction. World number 1 Scottie Scheffler kept his thoughts close to the vest, saying only that he trusted the committee to make sound decisions and was focused on his own preparation. Jon Rahm took a philosophical approach, noting that every major championship operates by its own set of expectations, and that players understand what they are agreeing to when they accept an invitation to Augusta. Phil Mickelson, watching from home, was characteristically direct. He said it was about time, that the game had needed someone to take a firm stand, when that Augusta had finally done it. The fans were split right down the middle. Supporters of DeChambeau called it a witch hunt, arguing that he was being punished for being more creative and more prepared than his competitors. Critics fired back that he had spent years pressing every boundary available to him and that the consequences were entirely of his own making. The hashtag Masters Rules trended for the better part of a day, and the debate showed no signs of cooling as the tournament drew closer. Some players, speaking only under the condition of anonymity, expressed discomfort with the committee's broad discretionary powers, particularly the clause allowing punishment for violating the spirit of competition even without a clear rule violation. That kind of open-ended authority, one player said, gives the club the ability to do whatever it wants, to whomever it wants, whenever it wants. Augusta National did not flinch. This institution has operated on its own terms for 90 years, and it has outlasted every controversy, every critic, and every player who thought the rules did not apply to them. The green jacket has been slipped onto the shoulders of legends, and the club's identity is bound up not just in the ceremony, but in the standards that ceremony represents. The committee was not interested in debating the fairness of its own decisions. The rules had been set. Players had been notified. What happened next was up to them. For DeChambeau, the moment carried a particular weight. His entire career has been built on the premise that every system has a weakness, that every rulebook has a gap, that preparation and intellect can manufacture advantages that raw talent alone cannot. Augusta had just spent a Tuesday morning, closing as many of those gaps as it could find. The edges he had sharpened over years of study and experimentation had been deliberately blunted. Whether he could compete and win on the terms Augusta was now imposing remained the defining question of his week. He insisted it would not change his focus, that the green jacket was the only thing on his mind. The leaderboard was packed. The pressure was real, and the entire golf world was watching to see whether Bryson DeChambeau could still win when the house had changed the rules of the game specifically to stop him.